last episode, we introduced our friend Annika to the world of sailboats on a rather blustery day.
And Annika, what's your thoughts about sailing so far?
But today, the winds were much calmer, so we decided to try and create the most idyllic sailing experience possible, so that Annika could get a taste for the finer points of cruising as well. Join us for some champagne sailing in the Netherlands. I'm Maya, and this is Aladino. Our journey began a few years ago when this boat fell off a crane. After 4 years of rebuilding her, we named her Magic Carpet and we set sail to go around the world as slowly as possible. This season, we're sailing in the Netherlands. Join us as we explore the history and strange natural beauty of this seafaring nation. From the canals of Amsterdam to the pastoral islands of the Waddenzee, welcome to Magic Carpet in the Netherlands. New episode every Friday.
And now continue that swing. Continue that swing. Awesome. Perfect.
Awesome. Nice.
So nice to have extra hands. Traffic? Doesn't seem like traffic to me.
No, it looks
No,
like
it's
you're
good. I go.
Woohoo! It's going to be a really good day sailing.
Yeah.
We can also do a bit of a joy sail instead of just going there.
Yeah.
We felt like we owed Annika a joy sail after the previous day on the IJsselmeer. It had been a boisterous day, fun for a confident sailor, but overwhelming for someone who has barely sailed before. Today, we hoped to even it out with some champagne sailing in flat water.
What a nice ship!
Same to you!
Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Yo, you too.
We waved goodbye to our new friends who also sail on a Vinda, and then we were out in the IJsselmeer once again. The Netherlands provides some pretty unique opportunities for easygoing joy sailing. Because of its highly protected waters, relatively steady winds, and well-maintained harbors, it makes it one of the best places we've ever been for actually sailing. Ever since arriving from the Rhine River, we'd only used about 20 liters of fuel. It's possible to sail just about anywhere. That's not to say the IJsselmeer and Markermeer are always pleasant. We've experienced their violent, choppy rhythms firsthand, and that's not much fun. But nowhere in the world has perfect weather all the time, and we've found that when the weather here does get unpleasant, there are small inland waterways, big breakwaters, and excellent harbors to take shelter. I've never once felt that nervousness I've felt in other places, when there's a big storm approaching and we're anchored in some rocky and desolate bay. Comfort is never too far here. Conditions were much friendlier than the day before. We put on a fun playlist, which unfortunately YouTube copyright doesn't really let us share with you, and we enjoyed the ride.
Feel today?
I feel good!
You feel good?
Yes.
Great! The interview is done.
This was fun sailing, but for an even calmer experience, we decided to head into Friesland's inland waterways. We've explored these waterways already with Hoob on his Lemster Ark, which you can see in episode 13, so we know that they're highly protected and they'd be a good place to hand the tiller over to Annika for a bit. We would have to be careful with depth, but there are dredged channels running through the lakes which are deep enough for Magic Carpet. So once again, we headed into the locks to enter back into Friesland's inland waters. The locks in the Netherlands seem to be more for flood protection and water management than for elevation, but flood protection here is vital. Most of the Netherlands is literally built below sea level, and pumps run continuously to keep the water out. Good flood management is a non-negotiable necessity. When the locks opened, we motored out before engaging in that most Frisian of activities, sailing downwind on a narrow canal. There is something very unique about this, bordered by land on two sides, cruising alongside pastoral scenes of cows and green fields. It's a vista you might expect from a road trip, not a sailing trip. But the fact that we were still on a boat, with the sails up, was a truly novel experience. I think this is why the Dutch love sailing so much, and why it's so imbued in their culture. Sailing doesn't have to be difficult here. Many of the risks and uncertainties to be found in other places can simply be avoided, replaced by all the joyous, serene, comfortable parts instead.
What do you think of this now, Annika?
I think it's much better. I enjoyed it so much more. It smells fantastic. Even though the landscape is so flat, I have never seen a landscape this flat. It really does look like the ocean, but just in green.
Yeah, it's so true. That's a good description.
Really flat. But it's very nice, and we're actually sailing. This is the most amazing to me, that we are on such flat water as it looks, and still we're not using a motor. Because last time when we were on the Rhine, we were motoring so much, and now it's so quiet. You can see sheep. That is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it is very peaceful, isn't it? It's very like pastoral bliss. A bit of water gliding along, nice smell in the air. Some little fences and some horses. Of course, there's the windmills in the background because we are in Holland after all. Yeah, this is pretty nice.
Okay, that was short-lived. The engine is back on just because we've come up to a bridge and we have to go through the bridge. It's actually lifting up. Red. Oh, it's turned red. So I think they're gonna let the other boats through now, and hopefully they'll let us through at the end. Anyway, the things I've heard about bridges in Friesland, I've heard that some of them, they have a wooden shoe or a pouch kind of like stuck onto a pole by the bridge, and you can put in a donation for the lock keeper there. However, this bridge is listed as a free bridge on Navionics, and I don't see any room for a donation, so I'm not sure if we have to pay or not. We'll check it out. It doesn't look like anyone else's.
Wow, isn't this so moist? Why aren't we sailing?
Why indeed? Get the jib out.
You want to pull here, Annika?
How much?
Wait, I gotta undo this one.
As much as you
Now
can.
you can pull as much as you can. And now the sail is coming.
Woohoo! Go Annika!
Alright, like that, so we maintain a little visibility. And now
leave it a little.
And now you can let it out, like you can let go more rope. So the sail will be flat. There's not much wind.
Ah, there is wind.
Yeah.
Ah.
More or less like that. And then we put it here so it locks it. Now you can let it go. Yeah.
Beautiful. Shall we kill the engine so we have total silence?
All of that.
Wow, what peace!
Sail on the canal?
What serenity!
You have to let me steer then.
It's all yours.
How does it feel to steer the boat, Annika?
Feels nice.
Yeah.
It's very different than steering a smaller boat. What are you smiling about? It really is very different.
I'm smiling at you.
I'm smiling at me, husband.
Oh, Luca is in the bridge getting the
grabbing it on the ear.
refreshments. Check it out, Amore, how would you like to have a little cottage with a thatch roof and our boat in the yard? That is so nice.
Calmly we drifted on. It's hard not to like this kind of sailing. It is peaceful. Surrounded by the smell of grass, the sound of water lapping against the hull, birdsong in the air. Sailing isn't always like this, but when it is, well, that's the reward. Most people who know anything about boats know that it's a life filled with extremes. The lows are lower, the highs are higher. Rarely can you find the kind of peace, the oneness with the world, the elegance of simple living like you can on a boat. But also rarely can you find the discomfort, the effect of storms, and the terrifying absolute self-reliance, which is also to be found on a boat. To be worth it, the joys must bring complete bliss, and for many they do. I can imagine nothing nicer than this beautiful combination of blue and green, the silence of sails, the peace, the solitude, the promise of a golden sunset and a cozy harbor. But it does come at a price, and that price is sometimes sleepless nights, seasickness that turns you inside out, being forced to face storms rather than just retreating inside and switching on a movie. What price you're willing to pay determines how far you'll sail. For some, sailing is a lovely and fulfilling weekend hobby, done on calm days with friends, and that's a lovely way to sail. But for others, the blue ocean is like the call of a siren, irresistible, worth anything.
I would say that this weekend was a full success. Annika has a smile on her face and she is steering the boat.
We decided to push our luck and leave the dredged channel just a smidge to throw down the anchor for sunset. We did get stuck once, but freed ourselves by swinging Aladino out on the boom. With about 20 centimeters to spare under our keel, we set our anchor and relaxed.
Ready?
Yes.
As the sun grew lower and the chill set in, we motored back towards the harbor. Luca and Annika had a very early morning train the next day. Annika steered us back, Luca watched the sun from the bow.
What a luxury, having live music while steering a perfectly calm boat.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
and chilly now, but in a nice way, sort of in the way that you get chilly after a warm day. Luca disagrees.
It is ice cold.
It is not at all ice
chilly.
cold.
You keep looking out for icebergly.
Yeah. Keep your eye out for icebergs on the horizon, Luca. So we're heading back to the harbor now after a very lovely stroll through the Frisian canals.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock in the morning. The early bird catches the train. We have to go back to Switzerland because the time is already over. We had such a nice and pleasant journey, only even if it was just 2 days.
Thank you so much for giving us an insight into what sailing life could look like. It's really always a pleasure to stay. You're two beautiful minds with a lot of energy, and it's really nice to see you giggling around. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much to everyone for watching. We really appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind giving us a thumbs up if you liked this episode, that would really help us out. And if you'd like more, hit that subscription button and the notification bell. We upload a new episode every Friday. And as always, a huge thank you to our patrons for making these episodes possible. If you'd like to become a patron and get weekly real-time updates plus a whole bunch of other bonuses, then you can do so. I'll leave the link in the description, and it can be as little as $2 a month. It's really up to you what you pay, but that's what makes us keep being able to produce these episodes. And last but never least, a big thanks to these folks for really going the extra mile to make sure that Magic Carpet keeps being produced. And we'll see you all next week.